Hello, once again, Sunday night, and as usual, going to try to review the week before and look ahead to what's to come. And in this past week, it's been a busy one in the world of sports. Most of us have to be living under a rock if we didn't realize that the NCAA basketball tournaments came to an end. Uh, Followed very closely by the NCAA hockey tournament, which I had a rooting interest in, and was terribly disappointed when my Boston College Eagles went down in the first game of the Frozen Four. But Union College won its first title, and that's a story in itself. We're now baseball season is getting going. We're hearing more and more about the NFL draft. Basketball teams are jockeying for position, just like your assignment was of a couple weeks ago when we talked about whether a team should push for that final playoff spot or play for the draft. A lot of things are coming together. But we've got another major development I wanted to talk about. And this week, we're going to go ahead and get it introduced and build from the material that was already there, introduce some new things, and then go into next week. What am I talking about? It's time to move on to the topic of amateur and college sports. Big topic, and we talk about it like it's big business, but you remember, if we go way back to the beginning of the course, we noted that in the overall scheme of things, sports is not as big as we make it out to be, but because we're so passionate about it, it seems to be larger than life. Well, the other point I want to make to this tonight is when we start looking at college and amateur sports, we have to look at that as a business too. And the developments I want to talk about are one that's been around for a long, long time, that's had a profound impact on college sports. The first one being Title IX. I hope most of you are familiar with the law, but Title IX is the federal educational law that mandated equal opportunity across the board for any institution that receives federal funds. And most of us hear about it talked about in terms of athletics, but it goes into other fields too. It goes into any time you have federal funds distributed to an institution, they must comply by the standards for equality of opportunity, for race, gender, everything that's out there. Okay, but in the sports world, it changed quite a bit. It really fostered the rise of women's sports, and it's trickled down not only from colleges, but into the high schools and opportunities for girls in sports that weren't there before. Really has affected the landscape of the sporting world over the last almost half century now. The other development that came about only in the past few days, days maybe a little short, past couple of weeks that we've been reading about it, and I'm introducing it with two videos here, is an idea that's been kicking around a long time in the background. And as I think most of you are probably familiar, the National Labor Relations Board issued a ruling that accepted a petition by football players at Northwestern University, Division I, Big Ten school, to unionize. Basically, the NLRB ruled that those players meet the standards for being considered employees, not students. And as such, they have a right to unionize if they so desire. Now, we can see that right away, you know Northwestern is going to appeal. You've seen some of the reactions from the NCAA, but it's a major, major topic. And the way this goes could have a tremendous impact, again, on the landscape of college sports. This is all coming on the heels of what we've just seen as a massive conference realignment. It's hard to keep track of who's in what conference anymore. But we're talking about the power conferences. We hear that. You know, are they going to break away and form their own association and maybe break away from the NCAA? A lot of things could happen. So as you look through the material this week about more about labor markets and things, start paying attention to the things about college sports. We're going to concentrate the discussion more on the original questions this week and move into next week when, for the final discussion board, we'll look at issues of paying college athletes, a little bit on unionization, and things like that will come up. The other thing I need you to pay very close attention to this week is I have posted an introduction to what your final assignment will be. I want you to read that carefully. The final assignment, of course, is due at the end of week 8. But what we've essentially done is created a model for you where I'm asking you to act as a high-level consultant to a league, okay? A league or governing body, such as the NCAA or the International Olympic Committee or the governing body of a sport in your country. But more likely, one of you will choose Major League Baseball or the NFL or the NBA or the NHL. And what I'm really asking you to do in this assignment is to take into consideration all the things that we've been discussing over the past 6 to 7 weeks and weave them together into a report as if you were a consultant to that commissioner or that head of the association. What can we do to make our sport better and to ensure the economic and financial stability of our league, our union, our association over the next 10 years? What is it going to take for us to be an economically viable entity? That's where we're going to go, all right? And it's your chance to try to weave everything together into one document. It's proven to be a really kind of fun assignment for some people over the past few years that I've used it, and I think you're going to enjoy doing it too. And that's why I wanted to introduce it this week and not just spring it upon you with a week to go. Do some research, do some digging, go into it from every aspect you can think of, but remembering all the time that we are approaching things as business and economic analysts. What we're really trying to ensure is the health and the viability of that league. Okay? Don't know what's happening to my camera there. Faded me out a little prematurely. Thanks for your attention this week, and I'll be talking to you soon.